Hello, I'm Carla, your Millionaire Mistress, and welcome back to my channel. If you've watched previous videos, you'll be aware that I'm a landlord and have properties around London and the southeast. I just want to talk through some of the risks to you as a landlord by exposing yourself to migrants. Why, as a landlord, would you stack the odds against you and take on a more risky tenant? Loads of our tenants are foreign. We've got everyone. We've got Africans, Venezuelans, Portuguese, Europeans of various forms, obviously, and Brits. We don't mind. If you're a legal, law-abiding citizen and you pay your way and you can behave like part of a community in our homes, absolutely fine. What you're looking for is trying to protect yourself and set yourself up for success. If you take on a tenant, and I'm telling you this from experience, if you take on a tenant who is not from, I was going to say a Western country. It's not even Western. If you take on a tenant who is from a part of the world that is unfortunately considered a third world country, they do not live like us. And even my dad living in Jamaica, when I've been to Jamaica, yes, okay, he's got a nice house, but there are people who live in shacks. That is a fact. They'll pay however many tens of pounds per month to live on a shack right near the beach. That's just what they do. They don't have consistent running hot water and electricity. They have backup generators and huge water containers on their roof to make up for the fact that their energy grid or their systems just don't work the way British systems do. And even we had a tenant leave a property recently who was African, and when I went in, I was like, what the heck? They were only there a short period because they didn't survive. But when I went in the room, I was like, what the hell are all these marks on the wall? And then our plumber, who is a white South African chap, he said, Africans eat live bugs. They would have been sourcing these live bugs, and any that escaped, they splattered on the wall. So I was like, what? What? So, and I know it's not just Africans. Other nationalities eat things we deem to be odd as well. But equally, that difference in how people live matters because, and I'm just picking nationalities now, if an Indian or Thai woman would normally wet mop, which means they get a full bucket of water, they throw it in a room and mop the floor, that's called wet mopping, but we don't, we dry mop. We basically get the bucket of water, we wring out the mop in it, and then we use a dryer mop or a wrung out mop to mop. That's not what they do. So if you think you're putting someone who's from a culturally different background in your building, if they throw a bucket of water on floorboards, your electrical system downstairs will be burnt out, or your electrical system on the ground floor will be burnt out because they'll be throwing the hot water over whatever wires you have got running beneath your floorboards. So I hope that makes sense. It's not their fault. That is just culturally how they would clean their home. So part of you as a landlord is happy because you're like, this is great. Hooray. Everyone's cleaning. And then you're like, what the F? I've now got £1,000 electric bill because some fool thought that they would throw a whole bucket of hot water over your electric system. It's basic stuff. And this is the minutiae of being on the receiving end of an idiotic immigration policy by government. If government wishes to ship in migrants, which is what they're doing, because if they didn't want to ship them in, they would just turn them away, same as Australia, then government can house them and let their homes get wrecked, not ours as private sector landlords. So that was just one example, the maintenance of the house, for example. If you also consider in different nationalities, and including in the UK, but the housing structure is different, people are used to living in overcrowded or dangerous conditions. So we would deem the conditions to be dangerous, and we would, in the UK, would not think it was normal to have 4 or more people huddled in a bedroom, because that's not how we've been raised to live and how we live culturally. I don't object to anyone trying to raise their family standard of living. I see it on my tenants all the time, where they send money home to their mum, or they send money home to their uncles or whoever. Of course, you do what you need to do to help your country, your family. I will only entertain tenants who have effectively been acclimatised to the British way of living. Because if they don't know how you want them to live, you either have to be explicit and tell them, or you have to just avoid those tenants. That's just the way it is. And I don't think there's anything controversial about that. Your mortgage company expect you to secure the best vetted tenants who live in a culturally appropriate way, and for you to maximise your rent so that they know you've got financial bench strength if you ever have a void. I think it's all very fairy tale and amateur for government to pretend, oh, it's okay, just house them. We're just here, quick, we'll whip up a passport, and you, as a private sector landlord, you take responsibility for trying to integrate these people. There are landlords who will happily load 20 people in a tiny flat above a retail store in a high street somewhere. That's just what some people are willing to do. They'll ask for cash payments. Everything won't be on a tenancy agreement. They'll have no proof they took someone's money, no proof someone's even entitled to live there, no proof that they have a tenancy deposit. They'll just go and spend it and say, what are you going to do about it? Tell the police. No. If you think about it, what you're trying to do when you're filtering tenants is you're trying to stack the odds in your favour to run a successful, profitable business and minimise the risks of any accidents, whether it's a fire hazard, a plumbing hazard, or even an overcrowding, damp and mould issue. The priority for you as a landlord is you're trying to maintain your building and the tenant's standard of living. And I'm specifically talking here for shared houses or HMO, but your job is to keep everyone safe. And for us, a way to minimise risks is to stay away from certain groups who would basically increase our risk. I think I'll leave that there for now. I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you have any questions or want to raise any points in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next video.